Saxon Algebra 1, Lesson 101, Factorable Denominators. I like these kind of lessons. This is another new video for my 2017 class. So let's just get going. These are, we're going to add, these are two terms that we're going to add together. Now, when you first look at it, you think, how am I going to add this together? Anytime we add fractions together, we have to find a common denominator. So, for example, this is going way back. Say you have 1/3 plus 2/5. What you would do is find the common denominator, which you know is 15. In order for the 3 to be a 15, you need to take it times a 5. And whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. And for the 5 to become a 15, to have the same denominator, you have to take it times a 3. So we do that to the top and bottom. And so we get 5 plus 6, and we would get 11/15. Basically, that's what we're going to do for these problems. We're going to find a common denominator. But you'll notice the lesson title is Factorable Denominators. That means you're going to have to factor your denominators. So let's just get started. Let's just start factoring. I just factor right here. Hopefully you remember how to factor. X and X. So it's last sign's negative, so one's going to be plus, one's going to be minus. There's more negative, so the bigger number is going to be negative. This one's going to be positive. And so you can look at your denominators and you have to say, what is the common denominator once I factor it? So if you look, this one needs an x plus 3 and an x minus 4. This one is an x minus 4. It's already down here, so you don't have to add another one. So we're going to look, what does this denominator need to look like this denominator? Well, it has everything it needs, so we don't need to multiply it by anything, so we don't have to multiply the 6x by anything, so we just write 6x. What does this denominator need? Well, it needs an x plus 3. So whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do to the numerator. It's the same as multiplying by 1 when it's something over itself. So we're just going to multiply that through. The tricky thing with this is, see this negative sign right here? You need to distribute a negative p through both terms when you distribute through. That's the most common mistake that people make in Algebra 1, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to get negative px minus 3p. And believe it or not, that is the answer. You can just leave it like that, or you can multiply it out. All right, that was easy. Let's try another one. All right, these, you're supposed to add them. In order to find the common denominator, you need to factor. So we're going to factor these out. This is going to be x. Second sign is negative, so one's going to be a plus, one's going to be a minus. The bigger one has to be negative, so it's going to be 6 and 1. This one is a binomial. You have to look for what's common. You take the x out, so you're going to get x minus 6. Then we look for our common denominator. Well, the first term needs an x plus 1 and an x minus 6. The second term has the x minus 6 is there, but it has an x that this one doesn't have, so we have to add the x. So now all of this is included in the common denominator, and all of this is included in the common denominator. Then we see what's missing. We compare the denominators. This first term is missing an x, so you have to take an x times the denominator and an x times the numerator. The second term is missing the x plus 1, so we have to take the x plus 1 times the denominator and an x plus 1 in the numerator. They're going to do the same thing to you. There's a negative sign here. So even though it says add, we're really subtracting, but we're adding a negative. So make sure when you multiply this 5 through that you take it times the negative 5. This negative goes with the 5. All right, let's do this. I like doing these problems. So we're going to get 7x minus 5x minus 5. This one has one extra step that the previous problem didn't have. We can combine terms here. There's a 7x and a negative 5x. So our final answer is going to be 2x minus 5 all over x times x plus 1, x minus 6. And that's it. All right, we have one more example, and then I want you guys to try one on your own. So let's factor. We're going to get x. One's a plus, one's a minus. The bigger one has to be plus because the outer and the inner need to add up to a positive. And here we take out an x. If you haven't factored it enough, we're going to get some more factoring in. The same thing with that negative sign. How about that? So make our common denominator. And we need an x plus 3 for this one and an x minus 2. This is almost exactly like the last problem. And we need an x. So, oh, I see the difference. So this one is missing an x between this denominator and that denominator, so we need to take this whole binomial times an x. This one is missing the x minus 2. So we're going to take this times x minus 2. And we're going to distribute it through. So we're going to get 4x squared plus 2x minus 4x plus 8. See how I distributed this negative, went through both of these, and it changed that negative to a positive. Now we just have to clean it up a little bit and we will be done. So we have our x times x plus 3, x minus 2 in the denominator. We have our 4x squared. These are like terms, so we add those, negative 2x plus 8. All right, you guys try this next one. It's your practice problem A, so it's like doing your homework with the teacher there. So turn off the video, try the problem, and then restart the video. Okay, let's do this together. Factor your denominator. So we get x minus 7, x plus 3. Usually there's something that matches between the two. So if you don't have something that matches, maybe you factored wrong. So let's draw our line. We have an x minus 7 and x plus 3. We don't need an x minus 7 because it's already there. What is missing? Nothing in the first one, but the second term we're missing the x plus 3. Whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do the numerator. It's like multiplying by 1. And then we just distribute. So we get 9x minus 7x minus 21. And you can combine. So we're going to get 2x minus 21 all over x minus 7, x plus 3. Eventually you'll be factoring the numerator and crossing things out, but they started out easy for you. So that is it for lesson 101.